My father and my mother, I felt, were very yin and yang, which is also very Asian, right? My father was practical, he had a little bit of that, a healthy dose of trepidation and fear to make sure that I would be honorable about the choice that I made and the path that I would choose and how that was going to actually impact my life later on. And so I appreciated the fact that he really challenged me and said, only, one in however many thousand makes it to actually be in front of the camera, and really had those long talks with me about that. And was I sure, and is that I wanted to do? My mother, on the other hand, was so wonderful about saying that I should be free and open and follow my dreams and persevere. And if I really wanted to follow my heart, I should do that. And I felt it was such a blessing to have both of that, the yin and the yang, if you will, within my parents, to have that guidance, right? I mean, I think if I had too much of a just go for it, I don't think that as I went through my path, that I wouldn't have been as careful about my career.
Growing up, I always saw the work that my dad and my mom both put in. It was different kind of work. My dad was putting in work to pay bills and put food on the table, and my mom was working to raise kids, both equally as hard, but they're different. So they instilled those values in me from an early age. When my dad would come home, he'd look exhausted and just beat up. And they were long hours that he would work. Granted, later on down the line, him and my mom went through some things and they felt the need to separate. But I would never take away what my dad did growing up and everything he did for us, especially when it came to providing a home for us, providing food for us, and stuff of that nature. Later on, my mom kind of took over the mantle and she became the sole provider of our family. And again, I have no idea how she pulled that off. But all my work ethic comes from them and their sacrifice. They came to this country in 1986. They didn't have anything to their name. Both my mom and dad were just poor. We're a poor family coming from Colombia, and they decided to come here to this country to give their kids a better opportunity. And I think they succeeded in that because all 5 of us are college graduates and at one point or another have our own careers, and we're able to hit the ground running, and they accomplished what they set out to do, which was give us a better opportunity.
My greatest influencers have to be my parents. We were really close, and we still are. And I admire them. I see how people admire them, and it makes me want to be like them. I find what's amazing about my mom, and what I love most about her, is how she's always so well composed and puts her best foot forward. I obviously know when things are not good, but when she's faced with the world, she's always positive and really upbeat, which I think is amazing. I love that energy that she gives, and I want it all from her. What I learned from my dad is that it doesn't matter if I'm a woman. I can still do what I want to do. And he always encouraged me and supported me in every which way possible, and never limited me because I was a young girl, which I find I'm really lucky for what he's done.
In my family, an option it wasn't an option to go to college for music, and I fought this quite hard, and in the end my conviction actually prevailed, and I struck a deal with my parents where for the privilege of studying music in college, I would also choose something else practical to study. And the 3 choices that were given to me were engineering, finance, and life sciences, which is sort of the precursor to medical school. And at the time, I sort of falsely chose finance because I thought, well, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to need to manage my own money in life. So I sort of just falsely chose that path, not knowing that I would later develop a really strong interest in business. And so now in hindsight, I kind of thank my parents for putting that kind of pressure on me. Otherwise, I may not have discovered this aptitude and also passion for business that I now have.
Both my parents have influenced me in different ways. My dad always believed that I can be something. Go for it. Always said to me, don't let anything stop you. You have to get an education, you have to go to college, you have to. My mother, no. Just get married, have kids, 2 cars, and teach. Why do you want more? I mean, you're a deaf person, you can't do anything more than that. But the interesting thing is that it was my mother who instilled the values in me. My mom was really my teacher in so many ways of right and wrong. But it was my dad who inspired me, who kicked me out the door. So they were both very important to me for different reasons.
The people who have influenced me the most are really my parents and my grandmother. They worked with incredible dedication from alleyways, living in alleyways in Shanghai, all the way up to incredible success. It's the most inspirational thing I've ever seen. And those stories have helped me through everything that I've done, all the tough situations I've done in my career, all the things that I've taken on, the turnarounds, because in relation to what my mom and my grandmother did and went through, I've never had a bad day.
I'm in a position for my kids that I never had when I was growing up, in the sense that my kids can call me and ask for advice in terms of which courses they're taking. My oldest, who's out of college, who is now looking for his second career, or what the next steps are, taking the GMATs, what he should be focusing on. These are things that I kind of did in the blind. But because of my experiences and successes, I'm able to provide them with the guidance that probably a lot of my peers had when I was in college at West Point, and even while I was in graduate school. And that makes me, I'm thrilled about it.